We're still I walked in and I grabbed my phone to put it on silent. Huh? No. Yeah, I know. Then we'll just need to make the motion that I be allowed to transfer the remainder of the 20 and then the 25 as needed.
And the
Because there's a
remainder of the
hole
funds
on
is
that.
20,000, right?
There's 20,000 there that's already been budgeted for, and normally she'd just be able to move that, but since you guys did a motion last meeting,
Gotcha.
to stop all appropriations, she is not allowed to do that.
So we essentially need to permit the 20 plus 25.
You need to allow to make current appropriations plus 25,000 for the 292 child care fund.
You know, we'll need that.
Right. It's been moved to second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And we will, this will be another one of those funds we'll put Neil on, because I know he's talking with Mary Cushion at the health department right now. He's in that process, so we'll get him on that one next. And again, this boils down to legalities and what we statutorily.
That's your copy. Thank you, Jim. Wait, I think I have it right Here you go. I don't think you. That's fine. I don't want your vote because I'm sure it's
Good morning. Let's please stand for the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, please call the roll. And Commissioner Walters is excused, he's working.
Commissioner Carl?
Here.
Commissioner Walters has been excused. Commissioner Reed?
Here.
Commissioner Wilson?
Here.
Commissioner Burgo?
Here.
Are there any corrections or additions to the consent agenda for the agenda? Hearing none, moving forward. Reading of the cash balances.
One general fund, $85,023.27. Advance from 5/16, $655,000. Advance from 2/39, DM, $350,000. Total would be general fund cash, $85,023.27. Floor is yours.
Thank you. There's also, we talked in finance about appropriating, allowing the treasurer to appropriate funds from the 216 fund as needed. So,
I think that's what she was.
Okay.
I know it's $100,000.
right. So we should have that in the form of a motion. I can do that. Also, if we need a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Balance reports, claims and accounts, general fund, all the old. Motion to approve the consent agenda.
So moved. Support.
Supported, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Are there any public comments? I guess there will be. Go ahead.
Good morning. Good morning. If you
Don't mind, Mr. Reed, I would like to address the board, and I have some questions that are going to be basically questions that don't need to be answered at this point in time, and it's in reference to property rights and Agenda 21 and the lawsuit and warrants and affidavits that seem to be being presented without the chairman of the board's knowledge, understanding, or commitment on any of these. I have a copy of a warrant that was issued on the 6th, signed by Douglas Jacobson, to take pictures of a private property party, a mud bog, where people are having fun. Just to indicate about the search warrant, the deputies that served the search warrant indicated to us that prior to serving the search warrant on the parties, the deputies took pictures, which is in the search warrant, prior to the serving of the search warrant, which to me just does not make good common sense. Further to that, this property is posted. It's patented private property, and the private property rights within this county and the state are being stepped on tremendously by the authorities that seem to know what the law is, but don't seem to have any idea of what the history of private property, the Enabling Act, the Northwest Ordinance, which is all part of the Constitution of the state of Michigan. The sheriff himself trespassed, and we have witnesses of his trespassing, walking around the gate with a sign that is 24 by 18. This says no trespassing, and I understand why it came there. But if you can imagine having a search warrant served to take pictures. Now, I know of other people that might have had graduation parties over the weekend. Can you imagine having uniformed police officers, the state police standing by to take pictures of your private property and having a good time with people that enjoy the same thing on private property where the state, under the definition of public domain, defined in MCL 324-301I, the definition, public domain means all land owned by the state or land deeded to the state under state law. Private property is not public domain. And when I say state, it means the same thing as this county and the township. We're in a lawsuit at this point in time with the county for injunctive relief about having a good time, having mud bogs or whatever you want to call it. I was out there. I've been in the mud from head to toe. I never had more fun in my life. I felt like a dirt farmer. And it's a farm. It's 40 acres. Understand that there are no reservations on patented land signed by the President of the United States. Where does counsel for this commission pretend that he's either Eric Holder or the President of the United States and goes ahead and signs search warrants for pictures when there's already a case? And this case is going to cost this county a lot of money just by having to adjudicate this thing. And it's just ridiculous. If you read in the law, if you read the zoning ordinance, it says in there, an owner of land may voluntarily offer in writing, and the local unit of government may, doesn't say shall, approve certain use and development of land. Well, you have to be conditioned on that. Somebody has to ask for permission. No permission was asked. It's private property. There's no authority or jurisdiction on private property. Furthermore, if this board wishes, at some point in time, I would be more than happy to give you a seminar on private property and land patents and the authority and jurisdiction that could be overstepped and stepped on our substantive rights as having life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It's the only thing we got. our property. We have to stand on it. So do understand that we have to do that. Further is that in the zoning act, it says a local unit of government shall not require a landowner to offer conditions as a requirement of zoning. Point. Shall not otherwise affect landowners' rights under this act, the ordinances of the local unit of government, or any other law of this state. The county nor the township have a public interest in the land, nor do they have a contractual interest, monetary, proprietary, contractual interest in this property. Now, we have received FOIAs back from the township that said they do not have a monetary, proprietary, contractual interest in our property. I don't know if that means anything to you gentlemen, but it means an awful lot to us. There's no public interest. If there's no public interest, you have no authority or jurisdiction in your zoning ordinance over that private property, contrary to what some people seem to think. It can be proven. The state knows it. Gardner versus the U.S. The United States has jurisdiction on public domain. They do not have jurisdiction on private land. There's case after case after case that uphold the fact that a patent is the paramount title to property. And on this property, duly filed within the Register of Deeds is a copy of that patent. There are no reservations or restrictions on that patent issued by the President of the United States under the authority of the acts of Congress. All of those acts still stand as black letter law today. And I would ask that this commission review the oversight that has taken place by council, by the magistrate, and by the zoning administrator. And believe me, that those particular situations could develop even further. If you read the law, Title 42, Section 1942, even further than that, if there's a conspiracy or a taking without permission, without compensation, there's possible 4th and 14th Amendment violations that have happened right this last weekend, especially under the guise of a criminal complaint in a civil litigation that is ongoing at this particular point in time. Under Title 18, Section 241, this could cause vacation time for people. All we want to do is educate, let you understand what this is, and understand that property rights, yours, everybody here, their property rights are at jeopardy today. And when those property rights through zoning, that's the death of people. That's the death of a county. If there's any questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. And I certainly do appreciate your time and letting me comment.
Absolutely. You know, in defense of this board, you know, this isn't the commission that handles this, and we have very little knowledge of the mud bog. I did mention that I would dig into it, and we will. But we have very little knowledge of this whole thing. So
it's just amazing to me that when the commissions have authority to start litigation, spend money that the county doesn't have on frivolous, meritless litigation, and it can be proven, and it has been proven. The court cases that are involved in private property rights are substantial. There's thousands of them. And I think you really need to look into it. Thank you so much.
thanks, Dan. Public comments. Any other day?
Listen, folks, if we don't start taking personal private property rights serious, we're done as a free society. Good people in our governments are being led to believe that the best way to remain free is to surrender property rights to government through use permission and zoning. that is in complete contrast of what our founding fathers had in mind and in a direct violation of our Declaration of Independence, when we declared that we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights that are given by God, that among these are life, liberty, and property, and the pursuit of happiness, that to secure these rights, governments are to be instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That'd be me and you. We must engage our governments again. They are just people like us, but they are taking their orders from associations above. They need your input. They need your clarity. Help us be a strong nation again, land of the free, home of the brave, one county and one town at a time.